Alrighty, welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast. Episode number, was it 183? We're sneaking up on 200 here. I'm your host, Bailey Egbert, and I'm joined here by my good buddy and the captain, Mr. Andrew Full. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just sitting here relaxing, drinking a beer on a Monday night. Tom Brady. What was that?
What you got tonight?
So it's from a brewery in, I want to say it's Barrie, Ontario. It's called, what is it? Spacey Ass, I think. It's an IPA. And then I have my brewing company glass that I got when we went to the Maui brewery on, what island was Maui, yeah. When we went to Maui a few years ago for our honeymoon. So
interesting.
It was one of the coolest breweries I've ever been to. Great beer too.
I dig it. Dude, with the different videos we're gonna start implementing in 2021, we should add beer reviews.
I did. I've had so many beers. I could
yeah. Well,
I love beer, so let's do it.
That would be an interesting twist to the channel. That is for sure.
Ass and beer.
There you go. But dude, what are your thoughts real quick on the last night's Super Bowl? If you want to call it a Super Bowl. That was a lackluster game I watched.
Two thoughts. Very lackluster. And two, the Zebras showed up on a week when my Bills weren't playing. Imagine if they would have called that many holding and passed the PI calls against them when they played the Bills. Literally every play they were tackling one of our receivers, basically, and no thrown. So could have been interesting. Yeah. So whatever. It is what it is. So there's
Tom Brady wins again. It's just another year. It is what it is. Just another 2021's off to back like 2019. It is what it is.
Here's my thoughts. As a Buffalo Bills fan, we hate Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. But at the beginning of the year, I go, it's going to be funny when either Belichick or Brady gets the last laugh because we'll know which one was actually superior out of the dynamic couple. And Brady just, in my opinion, cemented himself as the greatest quarterback of all time. Just hands down. Because the Patriots went Cam Newton down and Tom Brady started rocky and all of a sudden skyrocketed. And I still don't think they played their best game. So I think Tampa Bay could repeat, honestly. So
stop that.
Yeah. We're going to go on a bold prediction here. Sunday Night Football start the season will be Bucks-Bills because it will be a huge game time rating because of the Brady-Bills rivalry, and the Bills are an up-and-up team in the NFL, which have just about zero turnover. So that's probably going to be game one of the season.
We're going to have to clip this so that when the schedules come out, if you are in fact correct, we'll have to do a flashback.
That'd be crazy.
That would be nuts.
Yeah, I think there's like three favorites. It's either the Saints, Cowboys, or Bills. They're like the three teams.
Cowboys
people tag that. Yeah.
They would suck.
Yeah.
But in other news, quick announcement for everybody and something that make sure you are tuning in for the majority of tonight's show.
Right.
Your hand can't reach over there, man. We have a new partnership with the show, and that is Outdoorsman Coffee Co. Obviously, Andy and I are huge coffee heads, like many of you viewers, like many anglers are in the industry in general. We're coffee heads. You see guys, tourney morning, all have coffee, whether Dunkin', whatever have you. And but now we paired up with Outdoorsman Coffee Co. and we're going to be giving away two different coffees, two different bags tonight. And we were originally going to pick these ourselves, but what we're going to do is we're going to give away one coffee bag to someone who shares the Facebook feed. Make sure you guys share our Facebook feed to your feed, like share this live stream to your feed. And another one is going to be the best question on both YouTube and the Facebook. So the best question that we see on the live stream tonight, you'll get a bag as well. And you guys are going to be able to pick your own bags. Andy and I were going to pick our flavors, but we think it'd be probably better for you guys to pick what flavors you would enjoy. So make sure you guys, first of all, share this Facebook feed to your personal feed, share the live stream, and then get your questions in for Mr. Rick Patri the Monster Bass CEO, who's going to be joining us here in a second here. But real quick, again, before we do, obviously we're excited to have OCC with us. But again, guys, Bassmaster Elite Series is starting on Thursday, and we have a fantasy fishing that we've been talking about on past podcasts. Make sure you guys join our group. We're at like 800 something. Yeah, like 800 something, and the top 3 winners are going to be winning some gift cards from Queen Tackle, and they're also going to be winning a P-Line bundle that they're going to be giving away to the top 3 winners. So make sure you guys join those and compete. Talk some smack to Andy and I. Tell us when you're beating us up in fantasy fishing, so go for it.
Probably, so I tend to choose.
Andy and I are all about the hot takes. So, but last bit of news before we have Rick join us here from Monster Bass. Huge shout out to our buddy Zach Hall, who got a top 3 at the Hobie BOS down on Lake Seminole. First ever Hobie BOS tournament, and he's walking away with a top 3 $3,000 check. And obviously his bid to the TOC Tournament Champions for $30,000 next November. So huge shout out to Zach, and we'll be getting Zach on the show later this week. He'll be on Friday, so make sure you guys tune in to that one. But without further ado, we're gonna get Mr. Rick Patri here from Monster Bass. What's going on, sir? How are you?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good. All right, we're here in good old New York on the East Coast and 10-degree weather, and it looks amazing there on the west coast by you.
It's a little chilly, but what part of New York you guys in?
Andy's from Buffalo. Yeah, I'm from the Finger Lakes region, right south of Rochester.
Oh,
yeah.
I grew up in Syracuse, and I have family all throughout. I have family in Rochester. We've got a house on Erie and in Chautauqua.
Oh, that's awesome. Chautauqua's about an hour 15 from me to Mayville.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I went to college at Cortland, so not too far at all. I drove up to Cuse to Onondaga to fish all the time.
Right on. Yeah, in high school, I went to quite a few little parties at Cortland. So
that's too funny. Oh man. Well, Rick, before we get too deep into the podcast here, for us and for those watching, let us know a little bit about yourself, obviously, but then also tell us, how you got started in fishing in the first place. That first fish you caught, what was it? Who got you involved, and who got that passion instilled in you?
Yeah. So, wow, that's a good question. So, I grew up in Syracuse, New York, fishing on Oneida Lake as a kid, but it really all started in little ponds, actually in Westfield, New York, which is in Western New York, down near the Pennsylvania border. Mm-hmm. And my family had like thousands of acres that they grew Concord grapes on for Welch's. And so they always had these ponds on the property. And my grandfather used to take me out there as a little kid with literally a big, long piece of bamboo. And he'd take me out fishing all the time. And I'm sure it was pretty easy at the time because there was just tons of fish and no one was fishing in them. And so I just loved it. It was just so much fun to go out and be with my grandpa and fish. And then, as I got a little bit older, I fished with my dad on Oneida, and I really loved it. And, you know how it goes, right, though? Then you get older, you start trading fish for girls. The next thing you know, you go to college, and time for fishing, at least for me, got fewer and far between because I went to school in Boston. And then I ended up after grad school, I ended up in Vancouver, British Columbia. And up there, they're not fishing for bass, they're fishing for like salmon and all this other stuff. And, fast forward to whatever year it was, I don't know, let's just say 2012. I was running a digital agency, a marketing agency here in Los Angeles. And these guys came to my office, and they wanted to build a website in the fishing space. And I thought to myself, fishing? I haven't done a lot of fishing since I was a kid. And when they told me the idea, I was like, I shook my head. I was like, this is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. I'm like, I'm a big believer in karma, but these guys had like $200,000. They wanted to build a website for fishing reports. And while I'm in the meeting, you know, I just quickly Googled fishing reports, and I could find free fishing reports on every body of water just by searching for it. I said, why do you want to build fishing reports? He goes, oh, we're gonna have a subscription. We're gonna charge $9 a month and give you access to fishing reports. And I thought to myself, yeah, I can't do it. So I gave him the name of 2 other agencies, and I said, why don't you guys talk to them? They can help you out. And it just kept sticking with me for the longest time because, you know, if you gave my brother one day left on this planet, he'd go bass fishing. You know, he'd throw in a dip, he'd go by himself, and he'd go bass fishing. And it just kept sticking in my head. And it was the year that the Bassmaster Classic was down on the Red River in New Orleans. And so I decided I couldn't shake the thought of bass fishing. So I went down to it. And that's when the magic, like, just, it kind of reinvigorated me, because here I am watching, I don't know how many people, 40,000 people at the weigh-in, and this is how it went down for me. This is before I knew anything about the industry and stuff. I'm sitting there at the weigh-in and I'm watching as whoever, Skeet Reese, they're announcing Skeet Reese. He's coming around, the fireworks go off, he's going around the arena. And I'm watching is like, you know, people are holding up signs and stuff. It's like the WWF. I'm like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, I never imagined this. And then the guy gets up and he starts talking. And this is the moment I got hooked. And this is how it went down in my head before I knew all the brands and everything. Guy gets up, he goes, yeah, there was a ton of fog today. And if it wasn't for that Triton radar system, I wouldn't have been able to find my way through the water. And then the next guy gets up and he's like, you know, I didn't have one of them Triton radar systems, so I just followed him. And the moment they said that, I watched as every guy in the audience turns to their significant other and goes, baby, I got to get me one of them Triton radar systems. You got to get me one of them for Father's Day. That's what I want. And I sat there going, oh my God. And I literally could see it throughout the entire audience, all this product marketing. And I was like, wow, I'm like, this is absolutely nuts. And so I thought to myself, I love fishing. I haven't done it. I haven't really gotten back into it in a long time. I'm like, is there really a job to be had? And so I came up with this idea because my girlfriend at the time had got me some Birchbox, like this subscription box or like product, you know, hair, whatever stuff. And I got that. I was like, well, we should make one of those for fishing. And then I was like, you know what? No, this is the dumbest idea. And I sat on it and I said, I did nothing. And then 6 months later, I watched this mystery tackle box came out. And I was like, oh man, I could have done this. And then I watched this tackle grab came out. And so I was like, this is too much. I can't take it. So I called those guys back up and I said, I got an idea for a business. You pay for it and give me some equity. I'll build it for you. And that's when I built Lucky Tackle Box. And I did that and, you know, built it, you know, 5 years. We were the number 2 players, really great. And then, you know, difference of opinion between myself and the owner. And so I left. And then I started MONSTERBASS. But, you know, I've always had this, I always had a passion for the outdoors, because whether it's fishing, camping, backpacking, I spend a lot of time outdoors because I just think it's just a really great way to live your life, and just to be connected to the outdoors and to be with other people. It's so much fun. And so fishing's always been a part of it. It just took a bit of a hiatus in between when I was doing it for just the recreation and then doing it for a job. But now I'm kind of back into it and, you know, full time. So.
Yeah, it sounds like you not only have the passion for fishing, right, but you have a passion for the business and marketing side and being innovative and creative with it. And it sounds like you've kind of had that mix of a mindset from a young age.
Yeah, so I've always been a bit of an entrepreneur, even at an early age. You know, I'm a little bit older than you guys, and you know, back when I was a little kid, the only job you could get was like a paper route. And so I wanted a paper route so bad because I figured, like, you must get paid a lot of money. And so I had a paper out about 100 newspapers. But then I didn't realize, okay, you got to deliver that every day. You got to collect the money. You got to do all this stuff. it's a lot of work. But all my friends were like, I want to paper out. And that's when I like sort of built my own little empire. At the time I hired my friends and I would do all the money collecting, and then I'd split the 100 newspapers into like 4 different routes, and each kid would get 25, and I'd pay them all, but I'd make a little bit more money. And then one day my mom found all the money in my room, and she's like, we need to have a talk. And I'm like, what's the matter? And she dumps out like a pillowcase of all this money. And she's like, where'd you get all this money? And I'm like, and I'm just smiling. And she's like, you could tell she's so upset because she thinks I've done something wrong. And and so I always had it at an early age. I knew I kind of wanted to run a business. And so when the opportunity to do something in the outdoor space kind of planted its seed, when these guys came to me, wanted to build this fishing reports website, it just kind of brought it all full circle and back into my life again in a way that I didn't really expect it to. Because if someone had said, you know, my mom likes to joke, she's like, of my 2 boys, she goes, you're not the one that I expected to be working in the fishing industry. I expected it to be your brother. So
interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny how it kind of comes all full circle around.
Right? It's so interesting. And but I'll tell you, it's for anyone that hasn't worked, you know, when I parted ways from Lucky Tackle Box back in, I don't know, 2017, and I was trying to think of what I wanted to do, and I couldn't forget. I mean, there are the nicest people in this industry. Like literally, like I used to work in in tech, so I was in tech working, and so I was VP of sales and marketing and selling software. And you know, when you lost a deal, let's put it this way. I remember one day I won a big deal for Taco Bell. I sold them a bunch of software. You know, it was probably a $400,000 deal. I sent 1,000 tacos to the CEO of the company that we beat, right? And had Taco Bell delivered to the whole company for lunch. And like that, you did stuff like that. But in the outdoor recreation space, everybody wants everybody to win. Like there's genuinely good people that really just, you know, like I tell people all the time, like I found out about another subscription box company that's getting ready to start. I said, I'll tell you everything I know about the industry. I said, I've got no problem with it. You know, it ultimately comes down to your ability to execute in your vision. But I would tell anyone anything that they wanted to know about the company. Really.
And it probably gives you more motivation to try to be creative and be innovative, you know, moving forward with more competition, right?
Yeah. Yes and no. For me, you know, when I think about a fishing subscription box, I would never do this in a million years. If I was like, if someone came to me and asked me if I thought it was a good business idea, I'd tell them no. I would straight up. I never intend, like when I went back into it after Lucky Tackle Box, I never in a million years thought I would go back and build a fishing subscription box. The only reason why I did it was because, you know, the guy that ran that financed Lucky Tackle Box was a crook, and he took all my money. I mean, he literally took like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Jeez.
Didn't pay me. And so after a week of getting drunk in my backyard, you know, I'm the only guy in LA with a fire pit. So I burned through cords of wood like you wouldn't believe. And, you know, I sat there and I was like, what am I going to do? And I said, well, I built that company. I know everything about it, and I know what he's going to do, and he's going to burn it to the ground. So I'll just go and do it better than him and take all his customers. And so I went back into it, but it's a lot of work because, you know, as I was telling these guys that are about to enter the industry, I was like, you do realize like you're going to lose money every month for like a year. Like I told him, I said, when I built the plan, I said, my plan is I'm going to lose $500,000 in the first year.
Sheesh.
And that's the plan I sold to myself and to you know, to the people, because I did go out and I raised a tiny bit of money. And I said, I'm going to lose it all. And then it's going to go like this. And then it's going to go just like that. And everything that I said it was going to do, it did, because I had the experience of knowing what happened at Lucky Tackle Box. I knew the seasonality, I knew everything around it. And so I tell someone that's entering today, like, there's other little boxes out there, but they're never going to have the money unless they're funded. They're never going to have the money to spend on marketing that you're going to need to compete. Mm-hmm. And it's a big uphill battle. And I would have done something totally different had Lucky Tackle Box paid me the money. I wouldn't have gone into this industry again. Not like this.
That's got to be kind of like, that's got to take a lot of mental fortitude to go through a process like that.
Which process specifically?
Like knowing that you're going to lose money for a certain amount of time granted, yes, you had the experience of knowing like during this time I'm going to lose money, but chances are it is going to take off.
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, there is that chance it doesn't. That's got to be kind of almost, I guess the best word to describe it is stressful, very stressful, daunting.
I'll be honest. It was a complete mind shift for me. So at Lucky Tackle Box, we used to always talk about, excuse me, the owner always used to talk about your cash out date. Like, how much money do we have left before we run out? So we were constantly in this mindset of lack, and it created it didn't create a healthy relationship with a business. And so when I decided to go out and do this myself, I was talking with a business coach, and she said to me, she's like, I want you to think about like what it's going to feel like when you're profitable and making money. I want you to think about who's going to be at the table, and I want you to constantly be thinking about profitability as opposed to when you're going to be out of that money. Mm-hmm. And so for the first year, I never was concerned. There'd be one or two moments where I'd be like, oh God, this is one hell of a prayer and a toss to the end zone. I gotta really stick to this belief system, because if I don't, it's really easy to fall back into like lack and all that. And so I just kept staying focused on all the things we were doing right. I didn't focus on the things we were doing wrong. I thought about like what it's going to look like when we succeed and what we need to do to succeed. And I never focused on the lack. And that was really, really hard for me. But the biggest lesson I learned from that whole thing is pretty much your life takes place in your head. If you think you're going to, you guys golf?
Story before when I first got into tournament fishing, I loved golfing. So I would golf and fish every weekend. And I got to a point, I was like 18 years old.
Yeah.
I'm broke, working 2 jobs. And I'm like, I have to choose one because they both cost me like $300 a week.
Oh my!
Fishing, obviously. But yeah.
Right. So you know how it is. You get up to that hole with the water and you're like, God dang it. Every time I play this hole, I hit it into the water. And sure enough, you get up there and you hit it to the water. Yep. Because your mind has already programmed yourself to like, hit it in the water. Right. But when you talk with, so I literally, this business coach was like, think different. And sure enough, she's like, your mind is basically a manifestation of what takes place in your head. And if you want to be successful, think like you're successful, and you will be. And so I credit a lot of that to it, because I think it was a combination of me knowing what I wanted to do differently and a change in mindset that really helped out.
I think that's a huge boat to today. Like, if you have a positive mental attitude, you hear that all the time, PMA, right? Positive mental attitude. If you go into thinking something that might be impossible, but you're like, I'm going to accomplish this, you're 100%. Going to get it done, because your attitude is, I need to finish this. I'm going to do it. Set up strict like parameters around on what you're going to follow. And if you stick to your code, you're probably going to succeed. You might fail, but you're more than likely going to succeed, depending on your attitude, your outlook, and how much effort you put in. So that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Heck yeah. So obviously starting Monster Bass, you were with Lucky Tackle Box.
Yeah.
Did you kind of keep the same structure of kind of how you wanted to market it, or what did you change up?
So I thought about, it's funny. So the year before I left Lucky, the owner, he came to me, he's like, give me a plan for the next year. And at the time I was watching the market shift. And I was watching as Mystery was creating like 10 brands of their own, right? They were really becoming Catchco, and Mystery was just the marketing arm of what they were doing. So Mystery was really becoming a competitor to every brand that they were already working with, right? Because they had 10 brands, they were competing for retail space, and they were filling the box full of their brands so that they could increase profit margins and whatnot. Lucky was doing what they were doing, and that was just, a pretty good random assortment of baits. But I just didn't see, and then there were a handful of other players, but I didn't see how that could continue because Mystery was going to become something totally different. And for Lucky, if they continued down the same path, I just felt like there was room for like 10 other players, right? Because you can have, there's a handful of boxes out there. I don't need to name them. But the reality is most of them sell under 1,000 boxes a month. You can't survive under 1,000 boxes a month because you just don't have the marketing capabilities to get the best prices and all this other stuff. And at the time when I was at Lucky, we were doing like 40,000 boxes a month, which is a pretty good number. And so my idea was we need to continue to drive value because if not, this is going to become a commodity that people are going to price shop, and then you're going to get consumed by the Walmart crowd. So I wanted to continue to raise the value proposition of what we were doing, but my boss wanted to increase profit margins. And if you paid attention to anything, to any of the subscription boxes, we've seen enough YouTube videos to know which route Lucky Tackle Box is taking, right? They've cannibalized their audience because they just make up brands and put them in the box. They're not even trying to be like Mystery Tackle Box. They just go to China and put a Joe's baits on a crankbait and put a $10 price tag on it and a fake UPC code. Like they're not even trying to mask it, but yet people are buying it. I saw it as different. I thought like, okay, what is the one thing that we're doing wrong? And the one thing is we're sending everybody the same baits at the same time. When the reality is the conditions aren't the same at the same time in different geographies. Mm-hmm. Listen, there's not even listen, so let me take a step back. So my idea was let's split the country into regions. We'll regionalize the country and we'll send them regionally appropriate baits based upon the time of year that they're fishing. So that the guy in the Pacific Northwest is not getting the same baits as the guy in Florida. We're not sending, and in the winter, we'll have to come up with something a little bit different. And I know like that my audience pays attention because like we did make a mistake one time and we sent a shad pattern to the Pacific Northwest and they're like, we don't have any shad here. Why are you doing this? And they were right. They were 100% right. But it went to prove that the model that we were trying to create, people were paying attention to, and that they saw the value in. And so because we take that extra step and we regionalize the country, and then at the end of the month, we survey everybody to find out how we did in terms of color selection, bait selection, what would you like to see, what don't you want to see. We gather a little bit of information about every angler, like whether they fish from the boat or the bank, what's their skill level, what are their go-to baits. We want to build a profile around the angler so that we can, help send them baits that are going to help them be versatile. So at the end of the year, they got enough baits to fish pretty much whatever condition they're fishing, no matter where they are. And we just want to make sure that they're doing it with Monster Bass.
Yeah,
for sure.
So essentially you're kind of setting yourself apart by not just trying to send all these flashy, cool looking baits. You're sending them stuff that are actually they can take out and actually catch some fish.
Yeah. So I've got a team of guys that fish and that are in each of the regions, and they help pick the baits that go into the boxes each month. So whether it's guys like Alex Rudd or Ben Nowak or Travis Manson, they actually help pick the baits. It's not just me saying, hey, I got a great deal on this. Like, I'll give you a good example. Mustad, speaking of bladed jigs, Mustad has a bladed jig, right? It's called like the scatter wrap or scatter, not scatter wrap, scatter shad. And I was like, I've never heard of this. And so before we even made a decision on whether we're going to put it in the box, first thing I did was I went and I asked the team. None of them had fished it. So I had Mustad send them all, send out 25 people, 5 each, different colors, fish it, tell me what you think. And, then either bless it or don't. And we've had baits that literally the guy's like, come on, no, we're not putting this in the box. This is a joke. And I always get, the first thing I do, if I haven't fished it, I always go to like Tackle Warehouse and I read the reviews. Mm-hmm. And then I either get nervous or I either get excited. And if I get nervous, it's because the reviews aren't so great. And then I'm like, all right, we got to make some decisions on what to do because, people think it's really easy to get baits in the box. It's pretty hard. It's not an easy job because you're asking me, the brands, to sell it to me at their cost, so it's a challenge.
So you have to buy a certain amount of product just to possibly even get close to getting it at cost too.
Yeah. They listen, because what you're asking, right? I'm asking them to sell me the product cheaper than Bass Pro Shops, Walmart, Tackle Warehouse gets it. I'm literally asking them to give it to me cheaper than anyone else in the country. And I've got to be able to back it up with what I'm going to do with it. So it's a fair bit. People, that's what, people comment all the time like, oh yeah, you should put Megabass in the box. I'm like, great. Yeah. I'll send you one bait. How's that? And we'll see how much you like it. Or, get this, get that. And it's like, first of all, some of these brands don't want to be in the box. They just don't. And you have to respect that. And
right. That's a part that's probably hard to swallow, but you kind of just have to get over it, part of the game.
Yeah, listen, I when I was at Lucky Tackle Box, I worked really hard to get Live Target in the box. And I told them my goal was to earn a seat at their table as a strategic member of their marketing department because I wanted them to really see the value in what we were doing. And I wanted them to think about us as one of the most important things that they could do. Because when you think about it, right? If I don't know, insert any brand, well-known brand name. I got a marketing budget that I spend on sponsoring pros. I take magazine ads, TV ads. I pay influencers. I do social media pushes, email campaigns, all this stuff. Not $1, not one of those dollars guarantees that one person ever tries their product. You could in theory, they could spend $1 million on marketing, and in theory, not one person would ever try their product. Where right. I make the argument that marketing with me, give me the product at your cost. You won't make a penny on the transaction, but I'm going to guarantee that however many boxes we're shipping out, let's just use round numbers. Let's say it's 10,000. I'm going to guarantee that 10,000 of your exact target market tries your product. We're going to tell them what's new and unique about it. We're going to tell them how to use it. We're going to educate them about it, and we're going to put it in their hand and encourage them to tie it on and throw it. And if they do, then the next time they go to the store, they're probably going to be more inclined to buy that brand than they would if they had never done it before. Because let's face it, we're all creatures of habit. If our daddy drives a Ford, we probably drive Fords. If our daddy throws rattle traps, we probably throw rattle traps because that's what our dad told us to throw. And so we're creatures and we're afraid to try something new. And so if they sign up for this and we ship them something cool, new and unique, and they love it, you know what? They're more likely to go try it.
Heck yeah. My dad still makes fun of me because I don't throw sluggos anymore, and that's what he taught me to. If I come back and I tell him it's a tough day, he goes, should have thrown a sluggo.
Yeah.
I'm like,
he's not
Dad. What's something you'd like the folks to know about Monster Bass that they can't perceive maybe from social media or maybe watching the YouTube channel?
Good question.
I'm not quite sure I have an answer, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Unlike
I didn't mean to stop you. Sorry.
unlike other companies, I put it all out there. Like I literally, when I screw it up, I put it out there on YouTube. I tell people when, like, I'll give you a good example. I told everyone I was going to make one line of baits, and I was going to do it differently than Lucky Tackle Box or whoever. And so I was talking with the factory, and we had at this time we had 3 baits.
Right.
Two that I had previously designed, and then this one new one. And the one new one was taking so long; it was so frustrating. And the guy comes to me, he goes, Rick, he goes, this company that we're dealing with is going out of business, and they're selling their mold. And would you like to buy it? I said, well, I don't know. Send me some samples. So he sends me some samples. I send them out to everybody.
Right.
Everybody loves them. They're like, these are amazing. I'm like, sweet. I place the order. I buy the mold. I place the order, and I ordered. I want to say I ordered 20,000 units.
Oh man.
And I'm all proud of myself. I'm like, great. I'm like, we just got a mold that someone did all the research on. My team loves them. They look amazing. And I happen to post something on my personal Instagram. And I'm like, who wants to see these in an upcoming box? And this one guy, who I guarantee if I said his name, you guys would all know it, but he goes, Rick, you don't want that bait in your box. I'm like, why? He goes, that's a knockoff of a mega bass over in Japan. I'm like, shut up. He goes, no. He goes, it is. And I immediately, like, my heart sunk. And I was like, because I'm not a bait maker by trade. Like I'm a businessman who's learning how to go through the process of making baits and doing all this stuff. And so he showed it to me, and I'm like, oh.
Some.
And I immediately do 20,000 times whatever, and I'm like, and here I've been knocking on my former company for just putting knockoffs in the box, cheap China crap, and here I am, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And so I made a video. And I posted it out. I put it all out on YouTube. I shared with everyone. I'm like, my 25, whatever I said it was, that my $25,000 screw up. And I shared with everyone the whole story. I put it out there. So the whole point is, like, I don't care. Like, if we screw up at the warehouse, I tell everybody. If we're gonna charge 99 cents to cover the peak COVID surcharge that FedEx charges, I tell everybody. Like, I would much rather be an open book and like have everyone like just humanize the company. Like, I never intended to be the face of Monster Bass, because at Lucky Tackle Box, I didn't. I took a back seat. I put like Travis Moran, Alex Rudd, Nick the Informative Fisherman. I put all those guys in front, and I never wanted to be about me. And then we put out a video one day, just something, and I was in it, and we watched the numbers go through the roof, and we were like, wow, maybe we should do more videos like this. And so at that time, I just said, you know what? People want to buy from people that they trust. And so I'm just going to lay it out there. I'm just going to be upfront with everyone. So I don't know that if there's anything else I could share other than the fact that we're doing the best we can. We're trying to put out a quality product each and every month. And there's a reason why you'll see me answering you'll see me answering comments on YouTube and Facebook all the time. It's because we care. And we're just trying to be different. So,
yeah, I think from a consumer standpoint, I would more trust a company. If I had to choose between one that's been known, say like a big brand, right, and one that's maybe on the up and coming, or it might be, the competition, but one isn't going to BS you. They're going to put everything out, like you just mentioned, something that's put it all out there, let the people see it. That builds trust, like you just mentioned. Like,
yeah,
somebody wants to know that you're not going to, You're not going to shake them. You're not going to sugarcoat everything. You're not going to tell them, hey, this is the best bait you can throw. And really, it's not. You're just trying to sell them and make a profit. That's built a lot of consumer trust right there.
Yeah, we did that during when COVID first hit. A few months into it, like you saw these small businesses that were just tanking, and so I went out there and I said, listen, we're going to support one small business every month, meaning there's going to be one bait in the box from a brand you probably haven't heard from. We're going to go pick out a small business. We're going to support them. And, we're just going to do that. And I took so much hate mail for that one. And because they're like, you said it's going to be the best brands and all this stuff. And again, it's just, I put it all out there because I got to believe in what I got to believe in. And hopefully people will respect that. And if they don't, I totally get it because, they have their choice on where they spend their money.
Right. Yeah, I feel like people, though, that were probably complaining about that were probably complaining it prior to maybe not knowing that that's why those baits were in the box. I mean, I feel like anybody with a good head on their shoulders and a little bit of a heart can probably understand or definitely would understand why exactly it did that and see, what a little bit more of a Monster Bass mission statement right there, if anything else. I mean, that's at least for me. Maybe I'm maybe I'm just different. I don't know. Andy, what do you think?
Here's my insight on it. Some really small companies have hidden gems for baits that you can never see. And I think that's cool. I love finding those little companies. I try to buy like soft plastics from all the local pourers around here or like handmade jig guys because they're going to have that variant in color of the jig skirt material or plastic that you can't get anywhere else. Yeah, it's not a Berkeley Max Scent flatworm, but I mean, there are some little nuances in those little hand pour baits that sometimes just flat out crush them when no other bait will catch them. Or that football jig that has purple flake and a black jig skirt that you can't get anywhere else. So you're just like, why don't I have more of these? So I mean, that's a testament to you. I honestly prefer stuff like that. Give me 4 medium baits and then a small tackle company that is from Los Angeles, California that I would never have access to. And I'm thrilled because now, like, oh my gosh, this bait's incredible. I'm looking up that company and looking for it and buying more. So in turn, it really helps out everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. And something I've tried to do personally in my life right now with COVID, because we're fortunate enough that me and my wife have both held our jobs through this whole deal, that we do try to support like all the local businesses and restaurants and coffee shops around us like once a week or twice a week. We'll go out and be like, we're not going to like an Applebee's. We're going to make sure we go to the Hop Shop and buy from them, or instead of our big coffee brand is Tim Hortons, as you're probably aware. Yeah. We'll go to the local craft coffee store and buy coffee from them to help them out because they're the ones who need it more.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I agree with you. Like the crazy little kids. So I moved inside because it was getting dark. And
you're
good. So yeah, like there's this company up in Wisconsin called Super K, and those guys have like this crazy little cult-like following up in Wisconsin. I was like, I've never heard of these guys.
Jamming jigs, man.
Yeah, and then I talked to like this guy, Wisconsin Wildman. He's got this channel, and and Brandon was like, "Oh my god!" He goes, "I love Super K." I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "They make great jigs." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So let's put them in the box, and then of course, you get the people that are like, because unfortunately, there's the guilty by association thing, right? Well, I was at Lucky Tackle Box, so now they think that they're like, you made up this brand called Super K, and I'm like, it's so funny, like all the naysay people want to inherently just cut people down. It's like every time you see a picture, right, and someone holding up the fish, they're like, oh, it's photoshopped, and you're like,
let me see the scale. Yeah. It's just the same kind of people that they'll knock shoes for not being a Nike or an Under Armour or something. They want name brand, they want recognition, they want the popular, not willing to try what could be good and could be more effective.
Yeah, but see, that's where I think you need a mix, because if not, just go to Walmart or just go to the Tackle Warehouse or Bass Pro Shops and pick it up. I can get you You want a sexy shad in a 1.5 grade, just go get it, because you can get that at any store. But to find hidden gems like, like rabid baits, like where did they come from? And what
too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, Andy, do you have anything left for Rick before we start moving over to some viewer questions?
Oh man, this is awesome. I can't wait to see some of the viewer questions come through. I've already kind of reading them here as they come through, and I feel like some of them are real good. So
yeah. Well, the first one here is from Mike Green, and it's a little shameless plug from Andy and I too. But he asked, have you seen the new Lure Lock bags? Ever thought of partnering with them for a month? Which is interesting.
I have seen them. You got to remember, there's two ways to skin this, and I learned this at Lucky Tackle Box. People are signing, when you think about it, right? You're signing up for basically a lure of the month club, for lack of a better term, right?
Right.
So you have to be really careful, because like I put things in the box like scent, line, and it's a 50-50 crapshoot. Either you're going to get just roasted or you might get applauded, and it's all over the map. We once put mustad pliers in the box and got crushed, just crushed. So anytime, because in someone's mind, even though you're delivering them value and things that they can use, they signed up for baits.
Right.
If I take budget away from something to give them something else, it's not baits, they got a right to complain. And so it would be really hard. First of all, the price point on the bag would probably consume the entire box. What I would probably do is be like, and we've been toying with this idea, because I do it internally now, where it's like, hey, you want to supersize your box for $5 and we'll throw in X. Or, I've got in the spring, I've got a kids box coming out for like little kids.
Nice.
And where it's going to be like, if you need a rod and things like that. So I could see with a lure lock where it could be like, would you like to add one of these and get like some special price on them from Lure Lock as a way to seed the market?
Right.
You could do it that way.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Greg, or Mike. You got your business 101 lesson right there. I have a couple more shows with Rick and you got your business degree. We got Greg Smith asking if you still work with Bite Me Baits of Kentucky.
I don't remember. So Bite Me Baits is a small bait maker out of Kentucky. He's got some jigs. I think we were trying to work something out with them, but I don't believe that we ever finalized the deal. That's a really good question. I'm going to actually write that down because
there you go, Greg. Nice job, dude. Helping some monster bass business here.
Yeah.
I think probably the best question of the night, and Andrew, if you agree, it's my candidate for winning one of the coffee bags from Outdoorsman Coffee Co. is from Chris Birch, and it is what sets aside Monster Bass from everybody else.
Yeah, so let me grab one of these here first.
Yes. All right, Chris Birch, you have won one of the Outdoorsman Coffee Co. bags. We've actually, I think I've spoken to Chris over Facebook prior, so I'll just shoot you a message and we'll get it sent out to you, buddy. Yeah, go ahead.
I think what sets us apart, when I started the company, my very first hire was not someone in sales. It wasn't in someone in sales to go fill the boxes. My very first hire was customer service. Before I had even signed a single partner, I wanted to have the best customer service, because at the end of the day, you can forgive a lot when your customer service is really solid. And so I wanted to build a team that would solve my problems the way that I would expect my problems to be solved. And so first and foremost, I think our customer service is better than everyone else's. And then I think the fact that we regionalize the country, and instead of just giving you a random supply of baits, we're gonna make our best efforts to give you baits that are seasonally and regionally appropriate. And I think because of that, I think that we're a little bit better. I think that our relationship with Strike King is very important because nobody else has Strike King in their box. If they do, they're buying it at wholesale prices. We literally, the relationship that we have with Strike King is super important to me, and we've gone out of our way to make that a solid one. I think we also do cool theme things. Like next month our box is the Bassmaster Classic box. Every bait in the box has won the Bassmaster Classic.
That's sick.
We partnered with Ken Dukes, who's the editor of Fishing Tackle Retailer. He's probably the only guy in the industry that has a full catalog of all the baits that were won, that won, and he wrote all these articles on for us on each bait, how they won, who fished it, where they won it, and so we do those themes and takeover boxes. And I think that, and then last but not least, we have a box just like everybody else, right? Like the box is the container that you ship it in, but the box serves no purpose. And so I wanted to come up with a way to deliver more value. And so this month we got rid of the box. No more boxes. We're going with reusable bait bags. So every month your baits will come in a reusable PVC bag. You can label what's in it, and so if you want to just grab a few items, throw them in your kayak, or put them on your boat. You want to store your keys, your wallet, whatever. Every month we're just going to ship your stuff in a reusable bait bag. And it's funny. I got to credit Ben Nowak for this. Ben, I was like, Ben, I want to do something different. What can I do to deliver more value? And we were talking, and I'm like, what is that bag right there? And he told me, and I didn't I guess call me clueless. I didn't realize that like Bass Mafia, Guggen Squad, 6 Cents all make these bags and sell them for like $15-20 each. I was like, that's crazy. And so I just went and figured out where they were making them and made them. And I figured let's put all the baits every month in these bags instead of the boxes. So I think that's where we're different. I think we're looking to do things different.
What's that, Andy?
I said one step ahead, and then you're also getting rid of paperweights too. So you're kind of almost like an environmentally conscious aspect of the company too, that you can actually sell to some people.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's kind of like an interesting marketing tactic too, because some people might just throw the boxes away, whereas the bag stays and it can take more pictures and more things like that. So more people see it, the longer you have it. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Is what it comes to. Free ad.
Yeah, next one is not a question, actually. It's from Jason Baller. I think you would enjoy his comment, but he said much of the – oh, wait, that's the wrong question. This is from Thomas Wicker. Excuse me. Sorry. In a time of COVID, I had much respect for supporting the small business. It's the mom and pop shops that need the most love during this. Very, very good point.
I would say thank you, Mr. Wicker, and I hope you're feeling better today. Mr. Wickers, Thomas has been a subscriber of Monster Bass for a long time, and recently he's been going through some challenges of his own with his health. So just shout out to you, and I hope you're feeling better.
Shout out to Thomas for sure, dude. Rest up. I don't know the case, but hope you feel better nonetheless, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Jason Ballard's comment that I popped up there for a second mistakenly is actually he said much of the value in the Monster Bass box is the accompanying content. Seeing reviews and tutorials from the team makes it super fun and educational. There you go.
Yeah. Well, our commitment in 2021 is to at least double the amount of content that we're creating. I think with the team we're putting together, I think we're going to be able to make some really great content.
Heck yeah. This is perfect time for this question coming from Zeb Matthews, who's usually a concurrent fan of ours who usually shows up almost every show. Zeb asked, as a business CEO, what do you look for in your pro team? Very good question.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've lost track of the number of emails that I get every single day asking I'll sponsor them and give them some free stuff so that they can promote my company. And as I tell everyone, I'm like, listen, don't ask me for anything for free. Don't. And then the second question I ask is, do you even get my product? And when the answer is no, I look at him, I'm like, well, then why would you want to promote something when you don't even know if it's good?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you want to represent my company, go get my product, work with it, believe in it, and then come to me. And then don't ask me for anything for free. Represent the company because you want my logo and you're proud to represent the brand. And you know what? If you do a good job, I'm going to give you a discount. And then I'm going to give you, some free product. There are guys literally on the elite tour. Like, who was it? What's his name? From John Cruz. John Cruz did a video a few years ago that was in Bassmaster all about what to do if you want to go about getting a sponsorship. Because as he said, Missile Baits, there's only a couple people that they pay. The rest of them do it for free product or a discount. And don't ask for anything free, right? Like, so what do I look for? I look for enthusiasm. I don't care if you have the biggest following on the planet. You got to be respectful of my brand. You got to be respectful of other people and genuinely have a genuine passion for what you're doing. And, people that make great content, it'll shine through. And I'd much rather have someone that makes really great content and is respectful, is a good human being than someone with the biggest following on the planet that's a jackass.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. Let's see. Next, I'll see if I pronounce this right. Jamie Samatis Bates.
Nice.
What's the chance of getting a Rick bobblehead in next month's box?
Guy.
For Jamie.
Well, it's Chinese New Year, so the likelihood of me getting a quote on a Rick bobblehead is next to none. So, by the way, since this guy's jumping in here, if you haven't fished with his baits, made in America, veteran owned and operated, big in New England. They're big all over, but they're super big in New England. They make one heck of a drop shot bait. Speaking of that other one that you mentioned earlier.
So just go to Jamie's Facebook page there. Where can we find those?
Sure.
We'll give him a little plug on the show here because Andy and I are both.
I just haven't used them. So
what's that?
I said I have heard of his baits.
I want to know where to go to check them out.
You do?
Yeah, heck yeah. I'm always down to look.
Go to SamattisBaits.com.
BaddestBaits.com?
Samatis.
His last name, Baits.com.
Okay, Samatis. Okay.
I say Baits.com.
All right, sweet. We'll have to check them out.
Yeah,
thanks for the comment, Jam Bobblehead. That would be hilarious.
Right as we speak.
Sweet. Let's see. We have another question from D. Brett Walker saying, hey, this is Mr. Bass. Have you thought about a really high-end box, kind of referencing the hookup tackle JDM box that they're doing? Interesting question because it's like you mentioned though, that's a very small niche in the market that would be interesting.
I have thought about doing a quarterly box with higher end baits in it. The thing is, with the JDM market, because we're not all part of it, you're going to see a lot of discontinued colors and overstock because none of us here in the States know the JDM market. And so
guilty.
Like Lucky Tackle Box. I hate keep bringing up the past, but it's part of it. We had Megabass in the box one time and it was a discontinued bait. And I said, if it was any other brand, I wouldn't do this, but let's take a chance. And I put it in there and nobody cared because it was Megabass. They didn't give a crap. And so my concern is I don't think I'd know if they were unless I was able to really, either I would have to have a really solid relationship with the brand that would be upfront with me, or I'd have to do some research. And even then, like, how would I not know that it's overstock or discontinued? And maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the average angler doesn't care. I don't know. Maybe I put too much emphasis on overstock and discontinued. Maybe people just want a good value. I don't know.
Very interesting. It brings up interesting questions too, though, because like you mentioned, people not knowing much about JDM here. I'm one of those. We in a podcast was it last week or 2 weeks ago, Andy, where we had Eric Galasso on, Mr. Epic Eric, who is a huge JDM guy, probably has massive, expansive knowledge on it.
Yeah.
And Andy does as well. Andy's got good knowledge. Andy's growing his collection of Megabass, and I'm horrible at it. Like, I don't know anything when it comes to anything whatsoever beyond just some of the brand names, but when it gets down to the basics and what would actually be important to those who do follow JDM, it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah, I feel like JDM, people are spending money, and so they're going to be really specific about what they're going to get.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They you know.
That's the biggest issue. So that's where the Hookup Tackle did a really good job, is because they put product into that box that people know what it is, and they put stuff in there that's like one of a kind, to where it really made people bite on it. I think he did 200 boxes and they sold out in like a half hour or 45 minutes. But those are 200 people that he has following his website for any like new special releases that he's about.
Right.
And he put a special edition Megabass color, an SPC color in there, Megabass 110. And then he also had a Lucky Craft LV500 in bone, the lipless bait that you can't get anywhere. So right there, those are two baits he advertised, and people are like, oh my gosh, that's $50 worth of product for what else am I going to get in there? I think there was a spinner bait, a top water, and like mega soft plastics for $100. And it's just like, you paid full retail for those baits at $100, but you just got a couple baits anywhere else. So that was a draw.
Yeah. The thing that's different, though, I think, from that versus a Monster Bass is everyone getting a Monster Bass box is using the baits, whereas there's probably a decent percentage of people that are getting those boxes that are just collector's items that aren't actually putting it to work.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So that's different niches, different strokes for different folks.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good
But yeah, very good questions from the folks viewing in tonight. But Rick, I'm curious, is there any of the big things that are for moving forward for Monster Bass in 2021? Any big announcements or anything like that you want the folks to know at home?
Well, we did just, we've been, it's been no secret that we're going to make one line of baits under the Monster Bass brand. We've actually quietly acquired 2 companies, which we're not ready to announce yet, that make baits, because the parent company structure that I created is actually it's called Outdoor Playground. So Outdoor Playground Inc. is the parent company to Monster Bass. Monster Bass is just one of the brands underneath it, and we're actually, unlike like AFTCO, where they have 10 brands of just fishing, we're actually going to be in everything from duck hunting to camping to all these different areas that all complement one another. And so I think you're going to see Outdoor Playground come to life this year. I mentioned the kids box that we're working on, and then we're going to really be focused hard on our line of baits, because we like I said, making baits takes a long time. I mean, man, we made a few that like have never seen the light of day because they're just garbage. They are garbage.
Prototype after prototype after test.
Yeah, it's like, all right, enough. Like, now we're just trying to be cute and make something because we want to catch fishermen. I mean, it is pretty difficult to put out game changers, but like, so we are working on, like, we just launched in partnership with Alex Rudd and Messer Custom Patterns. We came out with our 1.5 silent squares and 4 custom patterns that Alex designed with Messer, and Messer painted them all.
That's sick.
Actually, you know what I should tell you about is Tungsten.
It's popping up in our comments right now.
Yeah.
Pumped up for Monster Bass Tungsten.
All right, so
Yeah.
Tungsten to me is the biggest scam on the market. I couldn't believe. So I started doing research, and all the companies, it doesn't matter where you get the tungsten from. There's like 4 factories that make 90% of the brands out there.
Uh-huh.
It's so overpriced. It is so overpriced. So here's what I did. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make Monster Bass Tungsten. I'm just going to give it away as my loss leader. come to my, because someone will come and they'll buy something else. So I built a matrix. I went to Tackle Warehouse and I listed all their weights, all the sizes, all the brands, and then I broke it all down into a per piece. Yeah, it's all right here. Into a per piece price, and then I took whatever the lowest was on the market, and I dropped it by like 25%.
Dang.
and so we just got it. I just got you can't see. Whatever. It's so small, but it's all labeled just like everybody else's. It's all no chip. Nice. And here's the best part. So here's my packaging. I got rid of all the packaging and said, instead of buying 3 packs or 5 packs or 2, no, it's all individually. So if you want to buy 17, buy 17. You want to buy 1, buy 1. And it's
the cost out on the plastic wrap that goes around it too.
Totally. And so it just came in, and my friend Jared here, who I spoke with, he's also our photographer. He's going to photograph all that stuff and get it ready to go up on the site. It'll be up on the site next week.
Heck yeah. That's sweet.
Inside, everybody, I'm sure it's been announced, but a new little riff here for Monster Bass. That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah. I've always been kind of intrigued how you get the labels on the tungsten, like what kind of the machine process is. That'd be
it's laser etched.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's so cool though. Just a tiny, tiny little logo. Interesting.
I mean, there are companies that have made so much money. And literally, it's just, hey, join my pro staff, and you can get my tungsten at 30% off. And all they do is sign up. They literally have like 40,000 people signed up to the pro staff, and all they do is hit them every single week with here's another deal, and they make so much money. Unbelievable! It's unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Well, I actually, I do know of a tungsten company in China that you can buy directly from. So I know like the bare bone cost of what it is per piece. And that's probably not even the best deal you can get, but it's pretty cheap.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure I'm not getting the best price.
79 cents a weight or $1 a weight, depending on what it is.
Yeah. Just Jason Baller is asking, will the tungsten be in the boxes?
Yes. So I have we worked with Super K to produce a line of tungsten jigs. So I'm trying to put together a month where we have flipping and pitching month. And so you'll get flipping weights, you get a jig, trailer, whatever, and all this stuff. So yes, the tungsten will be in the box. I'm going to guess probably April or May.
Nathan Beagley is asking, are you making all kinds of tungsten or just bullet style? For example, like a drop shot.
So the drop shot's been ordered. It's not ready yet. To date, we have flipping weights, and the drop shot will be here, I'm going to guess, sometime in March.
Here's a good one from David Dunbar that I'm very curious about as well.
Okay.
Because I've been in search for a long time. Are you making tungsten Ned heads?
Yes.
Oh, man.
In fact, that order was placed. So hold on, I'll tell you exactly what we're making. I'm making tungsten Ned EWGs. I'm making, and I think these ones have owner or Gamakatsu. Let me see.
I assume it's gummies just because owners get super brittle when they're heated up with that tungsten resin to put on it. It's like,
okay. Yeah, the guys told me about. So, okay, here. Nope. Where
I'm so intrigued.
Anyway, I've got. Oh, here it is. We got 1-0s and 2-0s. We've got 1/8, 3/16, and I'm missing a page. We're also making Tokyo rigs in a 3/0 and a 4/0. So yeah, to answer your question, Ned EWGs.
I don't. Andy, have you seen a Ned EWG, that's tungsten?
No. This isn't. This one's not tungsten. Sorry.
Oh, it's not tungsten? Okay.
I'm sorry if that was the question. I didn't hear that part.
Oh, it's all good.
I've never really dabbled with the EWG side of the Ned rig because I usually fish a Ned rig in like 25 to 40 foot of water with no grass around. But I'm like, if I could get like, let's just call it a 3/16 ounce Ned head with tungsten on EWG, I can think of 90 different things I could do with it if it was tungsten.
Brush pile. You could fish that around wood and not hang up at all like you can with another exposed Ned head. Ned EWGs have been like intriguing me in the past few weeks, and I put in a tackle order today. I'm actually really pissed off right now that I didn't add Ned EWGs. But that's sweet though. It's just getting your brand. I dig it. That's awesome, man. I don't think that we got some more comments coming in from the folks, but Andy, do you have anything left for Rick here before we hit him with our last question?
Go ahead and hit him. This is my favorite question, I think. So,
all right, Rick. Our last question is for everybody who's new to the show, and that is, if you could sit down, let's take for instance, you guys are smoking wings. If you have smoked wings and a beer with 3 different individuals, they don't have to be the fishing industry, and they don't have to be presently alive. They could be alive 1,000 years ago. What 3 individuals are you going to sit down with, pick their brain, have a beer, have some smoked wings?
Wow.
I love this. I know I say that every time, but I love it because everyone is always like, "Why didn't you tell me about this so I can prepare?"
It's like, I didn't tell you on purpose.
No, I know one of them for sure, but it's controversial.
It's all right.
Okay, so
like a controversy, it's fine.
Say as you please.
Okay,
the word is yours.
So, yeah. God, I could go a million different ways with this. Okay, I would love to sit down with Jack Welch, who was the former CEO and chairman of the board at General Electric. He's a really famous management guru.
Right.
I think I would just learn a lot from business from him. I would love to sit down and have a conversation with Jesus Christ, because, and I'm not a religious guy, I would love to just like hear his truth. Because you know, everything else you hear about today is just a story that's been passed down and retranslated, and I have no clue.
Right.
And this is the controversial one.
Okay.
I don't think I can say it.
If you're torn about it, and it's no worries, dude. You don't have to say it. We are not in the sport of pressuring anybody to elicit answers on this show.
Yeah, I shouldn't say it. I think the marketing guys in the other room would lose their mind if I said this. So I'm gonna go with Magic Johnson, because he was my childhood idol. Like oh my God, I played basketball and all I wanted to do was be like Magic. I tried to throw passes like him. I tried to develop a baby sky hook. You know, here I am, a little white kid and playing basketball, and I'm trying to pretend I'm like the Harlem Globetrotters. I probably look so ridiculous. And so it's not really as good of an answer as the one that I wanted to say, because it's so controversial, but I probably shouldn't say it. Very bad.
We respect it. We respect it 100%. But
yeah,
dude, Rick, we want to say first of all, we appreciate you taking time out of your night to join us, join the folks, and take questions from us and take questions from viewers. We appreciate you joining in with us on the show tonight, man. It means a lot.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'd love to have you guys on our live stream one time.
Hell Heck yeah.
Had a great time. Thanks for having me.
If you're ever listening, let us know.
What's that?
If you're ever in New York, let us know.
I'm in New York. My mom lives there. I go there all the time.
Yeah, when you come to visit, yeah, give us a holler.
Hey, Rochester. Who's from Rochester?
That is me.
Pontillos.
Oh, dude, Pontillos is the best.
Yep.
Portland too.
That's my family.
Really?
Holy
God. I
Wow.
lived on Pontillos.
Yeah, my cousins run Pontillos.
That's funny. So every time I go to my in-laws' house, like I want to say 1 out of 5 times we have Pontillos pizza.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That is really funny. Wow, I've had Pontillos. I lived off that stuff for 4 years in college. Heck yeah.
Something so simple.
I'm never going to look at Pontillos the same. It's always going to be like, hey, did you guys know?
All right, guys. Well, listen, I really appreciate you guys having me on the show. Thank you so much. And I'll talk with you guys soon.
Yeah, man. Go enjoy those smoked wings, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you.
All right, take care, Rick.
Bye.
Heck yeah.
That was awesome.
Really good show. I appreciate everybody tuning into that. I think the first order of business, dude, is we need to go look at the Facebook shares to get out this next bag of Outdoorsman coffee.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned, guys, if you shared the Facebook feed, then you would be obviously getting yourself in the running for winning another bag of Outdoorsman coffee. First bag went to Chris Birch for his comment. That was probably the best comment of the show. And then obviously our next one's would be a Facebook share. Let's see here.
Looks like we had 4.
Oh, yeah, we got the winner. We got the winner here. I did a quick randomizer. I had it up on my phone, and I put in a number, and I went down however many that number was to who won it. And it is going to Justin Warner, who it'll be a quick drop-off for us. Justin is a local here, a good buddy of the show. And huge congrats to Justin on winning some OCC coffee.
I can attest he loves coffee. So
it's going to the perfect guy. Yeah, heck yeah. Heck yeah. So guys, moving forward with our partnership with Outdoorsman Coffee Co., we'll be giving away 2 bags of OCC coffee every Monday night. So make sure you guys are tuning in for these shows and sharing the Facebook feed, getting your comments in. And obviously we'll be picking 2 new winners every single Monday Night Live to get hooked up with some pretty good coffee, I'll say. So I'm excited to get more in this coming week, get some put to use, and obviously show you guys some new flavors that they got going on. We're excited to partner with OCC. I'm trying to think what else we have on the agenda to let the folks know about tonight. Friday, Zach Hall, and then on Wednesday we have Glenn Walker. We're going to talk to Glenn, obviously, about himself as an angler, but also Glenn Walker is an important role with lure lock. And we're going to dive into lure lock and attack logic and dive into that whole technology and such. But as always, guys, we appreciate you tuning in tonight. It's been an awesome show. Huge shout out to Rick and the folks at MONSTERBASS for joining in with us tonight. We appreciate all of you for tuning in, getting your questions out. It's been an absolute blast, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.